I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we're going to move the agenda around a little bit, but we start with, let's ratify the agenda. Any additions or deletions? Under the auditor's office, we will need to add approval process for the PRC applications we have in front of us. Anything else? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
Make a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
We have a
Second.
And we have a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries. Okay, so we have a public hearing at 10 o'clock scheduled, tax abatement hearing, for H&D properties. We may have some logistics here we got to work through. Yeah, she may be here. Coming. So it's about page 12 of your packet. Is Heather here, the applicant?
She on the phone?
So you see the action, you see the application, and you see the action taken by the city. So do we have any discussion or questions?
So just.
This is on if somebody's on the line to call. Is it on?
It's on.
Okay,
yes.
thank you.
Yep. So,
Oh, I guess I would have the one question. Well, when did she actually start renting it as a church? Was that in 23? Is that what she's saying?
yeah.
City of Dickinson's denied this, okay.
So I guess the question I'd have for Natalie is, was the 2025 application for exemption approved? Because I was told something other than that.
And she's got to apply for that yearly.
Yeah, the abatement.
Yes.
Yeah, and the exemption, you're correct, yes.
Natalie?
Yeah, we either gonna postpone this for 20 minutes, even though it's a scheduled public hearing, we have nothing in front of us to go off of.
So other than, yeah,
Hey, they're doing that abatement hearing. Can you pop down here quick? Okay, thanks, bye. She's gonna come down.
Okay, so
can we come back to this and do maybe the previous minutes? And
technically, can we do that, Amanda?
Public hearing scheduled at 10.
Yeah.
we
that's-
just wait?
We'll just have to wait, that's my thought.
The city did deny it though, correct?
They had denied the abatement,
Not the exception.
but not the exemption, so that's where I'm confused. Good morning.
I didn't think that park board meeting was ever gonna get over. I'm Natalie, Stark County Tax Director. The, abatement in front of you guys is Heather Dressler applied for it. She actually owns the market addition, a couple of them units, she rents that unit to the church. So she's trying to apply for an abatement for the taxes on a church that she doesn't really own. They can't get the exemption because they don't own it. They actually pay her monthly rent. So the city denied the abatement, so it's just up to you guys what you want to do with it from
No,
there.
the second question, though, is under her statement, she says that her 2025 application for exemption has been approved.
Yes, he did approve it, and then when he took it to his attorney before there.
He is being,
Joe, sorry. Yep, Joe did take it to the attorney, because I questioned him on it after I read this. I questioned him, and so then he went and talked to Christina Wanko before the city heard this abatement. And she said, no, they had to deny it because she doesn't actually own the church.
So how long has she been renting to this church? Is this the first year this has come up, or has she been
Yeah.
granted an exemption in the
She-
past?
Nope. She's that's the first year that she had applied for the exemption. She paid partial taxes in 23 and then 24. So she's paid them 2 years in taxes. Somebody after the fact told her, well, you can apply for an exemption because it's a church, not knowing that she didn't actually own the church or that the church was renting and she was making money off of it. So
okay.
in a roundabout way, it ended up being denied because,
So let's deal with what we have in front of us, which is the abatement. I think the exemption is going to be another conversation because we don't have the formal action on that. So it's nothing we're going to act on today. So I think we'll act on the abatement. If there's any other questions, and I don't know if the applicant is on the phone yet. So what's your wishes?
Can we do anything without the applicant being on the phone?
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's published, that's public
Okay.
notice.
yeah.
So just to be clear, so her exemption for 25 was not approved, is that correct?
It was initially approved, and then after Joe had talked to Christina about the exemption, if she could actually even get the exemption, because the church wasn't applying, it was her as the business owner, or as the building owner. And so Christina said she couldn't, they had to deny the exemption, which was actually for 25, and this abatement's for 24. She never did fill out the exemption for 24, so I guess it's two different situations completely, but
Yep.
So is she also asking for a partial on 2023?
well, she is in her little statement, but never filled out any paperwork for it. Because there has to be an individual abatement form for each year when they
So
apply for an
she's
abatement.
doing 2024 and 5?
No, just
20
24.
Just 24.
24, okay.
But the abatement, she's asking for the property value to go to zero.
Right,
So that's what's in front of us currently.
yep.
And the city has denied that.
Right.
So I guess I'll make a motion to deny Heather Dressler's abatement for 2024.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, we have motion second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, we'll do a vote, roll call vote. Commissioner White,
Aye.
Commissioner Claris.
Aye.
Commissioner Fanchuk,
Aye.
Commissioner Marsh.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Motion carries for denial. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Okay, next item on the agenda will be the April 1, 2025 Commission meeting minutes. Comments, corrections?
I'll make a motion to approve.
We have a motion by Commissioner Franchuk. Do I have a second?
Second.
Commissioner Claris, any other discussion? Hearing none. All in favor of approving the minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Okay. Park Board Commission items. Oops, excuse me. Accounts payable.
Make a motion to approve accounts payable.
We have one addition that we need.
That was
Can you add with the Farsted oil bill?
the Farstead Oil invoice
Okay,
of $22,714.03.
okay. I would like a little clarification on one bill, under the weed board. The $3,229.08 for the North Dakota Weed Association.
What was the total, Chairman? on that?
$3,229.08.
Just a little explanation. At our last weed board meeting, the State Association, which Travis, our weed director, is, he's a part of that association, obviously. Anyway, he just came back from the state convention, and they had asked Stark County Weed Board to buy some audio-visual equipment, simply because of, well, they had the same problem we do apparently. So, because apparently their credit card limit was not high enough to take care of the problem or the purchase themselves. So, you know, just for ease of use, we agreed to, as a weed board, to do that because it was going to be a direct reimbursement from the State Weed Association. And, well, it turns out that I think the purchase actually put Travis over his limit on his credit card. Is that accurate? And and it's outside budget for us. Overall, it's an in and out for us, but it needs to be cleared by this board, that purchase ultimately. I think I've got it right. Lana, can you shed some light on that?
Nope, that's exactly it.
Yeah, I just wanted
Correct.
clarification on
That's
it
right.
so everybody understood.
Yeah.
What's his, so he went over his credit card line item or is
So-
a lot?
That's correct. They called and told me they had some purchases, some equipment to buy, and asked if I would give them a temporary credit increase on their credit card. So I did that. That's not an uncommon thing for us to do that. So that actually ended up putting them over their credit limit when the statement came out. So now their normal transactions that run off that card are being denied till it's approved today, if you approve it today.
So bad timing on the purchase.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, and in the end, it was good intentions, it's just bad timing, so.
Okay, any other questions, comments? I would entertain the motion, Commissioner White.
Oh, I make the motion to approve accounts payable with the addition for Farstad and the weed department.
And I'll second that.
But that was just a clarification,
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
okay. So we have the motion, we have a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote. Commissioner White?
Aye?
Commissioner Claris?
Aye.
Commissioner Franchuk?
Aye.
Commissioner White, or
Aye.
Commissioner
Twice.
Marsh?
Aye.
Chair votes aye, motion carries. Park Board Commission action items. I think I see two. Do we need to approve the bills?
Do we?
The funds, Lisa Heiser, County Parks Director. The community event funding items is one, and then I don't know if you have to approve the moving of the water truck into the park board, I'm not sure, but.
Okay, so let's start with the community events funding allocations as brought to us by the Park Board. Can I get a motion on that?
Make a motion to approve.
Commissioner White, Commissioner Marsh seconds that. Any other discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote. Commissioner White,
Aye?
Commissioner Marsh.
Aye.
Commissioner Claris,
Aye.
Commissioner Franchuk.
Aye.
Chair votes aye, motion carries. Lisa?
Perfect.
Do we need to make a transfer of that?
I think so.
Yeah, we probably should make a record of it.
Okay,
Yeah,
so,
so it's in both.
So I'd make a motion to take the single axle water truck from the road department and transfer it to the park department.
and I'd second that.
Okay. We have a motion. Do we have a second to transfer the single axle water truck? Any other discussion?
Did we ever figure out the skid steer situation here?
I think we're gonna keep it the status quo. It's gonna come here in the winter,
Okay.
summer at the fairgrounds.
All right, Tim.
Okay,
So,
I think we can do this.
Maybe that should be put under buildings and grounds and park department. Oh, I don't know. You guys can deal with that
We
later.
can buy another one and keep one there and keep one there.
Yeah.
No, we can't.
So all in favor of the motion to transfer the truck signify by saying aye.
I,
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Okay, thank you, Lisa. All right, Sheriff Lee
Chairman, in the interest of time, if you don't mind, I would
is a god, I
certainly
guess.
stand for questions if you have any, but I did just want to make one comment. We had that fairly serious accident on I-94 this last month, and I really have to give kudos to the Richardson Fire Department for all the help they gave us in that accident. It was amazing. Obviously, we would work with the troopers and those guys all the time on the interstate, but those guys were really a godsend, so thank you to them.
thank you.
I would comment, I appreciate the truck reg information.
Yes.
It's nice to see that.
Yep.
Any other comments or questions for Sheriff Lee? Okay, hear none. Thank you. County Road Engineers, the patient group. Mr. Wood, Northern Plains.
Just one real brief update. 131st and 48th Street, south of Belfield area. Liebchuck is building that project. They have the 48th Street pretty much done. They got it roughed in. By the end of the week, they should finish. And then maybe a week or two later, there might be a little bit of a delay, but then they'll start on the 131st. We did send in a pay estimate. Number one, it should be included in the bills for your reference, but everything is checking out really well. No overruns on the quantities to speak of, so that project's going very well. Other project, not much action. The seal coat on 32nd Street and 107th Avenue. Seal coat's gonna happen sometime this summer. It has to be in either June, July, or August. So maybe in my next meeting, I'll tell you it's gonna get underway, but it has to be in those 3 months, so. Other than that, that's all I had for you, so.
Any questions for Jeremy? Hearing none, thank you. Mr. Krebs, is he still here? He went to another meeting, okay. Any questions, or if anybody can update on the projects that he's had on his report for a while here?
I would just make one comment. Some folks in the South Art area reached out to me concerned about that bridge on the west side of South Hart. And it was just basically, I talked to James, he was the original design engineer on that, right? And basically it was turned over to KLJ as far as construction engineering, and there was a change that would need to be made as far as an elevation. I think that's been approved, right? And so now it's just kind of timing as far as when Schwartz can get back and actually. Go ahead, Todd. Yeah, that'd be great.
Why don't we do James, and then you can update us? That way James can get his done.
Mr. Chairman, good morning, Commissioners.
Morning.
My update's also very brief. Our sub-consultant reports are in. Preliminary design is complete. We have submitted the draft environmental document. We are working with the DOT to hopefully avoid the need for a core permit on this project. We're also working with the road department to construct a condition appropriate for either installation of a low water crossing by the county after the DOT project is complete, or leaving an open channel depending on landowner preference. Todd from the road department did reach out to the one landowner who desired continued access on this one. And he agreed that we could leave an open channel provided it's traversable by an ATV. So we're gonna go back and do just a little more tweaking to the design, make the necessary adjustments, and work with the road department to get that plan set reviewed in the next 2 weeks.
Any questions? Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, Mr. Miller, now you can come up.
Todd Miller, Road Operations Specialist. Good morning, everyone. You want me to start with my report, or or just go ahead with?
Want to just,
Yeah,
just a
let's-
quick highlight on
Okay,
that South Arc.
on the South Hart Bridge, that was put on hold for a while. And then because of the elevations and had to get re-permitted, the state, the DOT, put a hold on that because they said they would pull our funding if we didn't get that reapproved. And that all got done. Then, in the meantime, Schwartz Construction, who has the bid to do the construction work, moved his crew over into Dunn County, and he'd be back here within a couple of weeks and start up again.
Okay.
And then they should be able to finish it. So before we also had the deadline extended to mid-October as well. So hopefully that answers your question on that project. Okay?
Thank you.
Okay. Going forward here, with the road department, or are we up?
Yep.
Okay. You have that slide put up, or? Okay. Under our road crew operations, for the month, we've been out crack sealing. We did, completed 58.7 miles of oil. That's all done, the hot pour. We're doing the route and rubber sealing, and that's in progress. We got put on halt today, but we doubled our miles on that as of yesterday, so we're at about 12 miles completed.
What's the total miles
For
that are needed for route and rubber sealing?
route and rubber, we're looking at, I suppose, additional, I think it's probably another 8, I'm guessing. They're going east. We did cover everything. We kind of split it into half the county. So we're doing, like, the oil is usually from the subdivisions and then west. And that's all completed, so. And the route and rubber, we just go to areas that are needed for new cracks in the new pavement. The other thing is they did pulling shoulders on 34th and 105th Avenue and 100th Avenue. That's working really well. We're seeing how that all reacts as far as graveling is concerned. Spring blading is going well. Besides waiting for rain, which is, we got some last night, so the blades are out blading today. The other thing was done and completed was 116. We had Avenue. Southwest, south of Dickinson, they had a reclaimer in there and reground the material up and then re-gravelled over the top. And that's from 44th or 41st Street to 44th. And that's all done, and I think that road turned out really well. Upcoming project updates. We're gonna replace a bridge. It was, the DOT had informed us that we were gonna do a inspection on it, and then told them to hold off, that we would just take that bridge out and put in 2 new culverts. And we did the hydrology study, pipes are ordered, so when that pipes are coming in around May 23rd, so then we'll start up in June and take that out ourselves as a road crew, because we have that excavator now. So that's all ready to go. The green fence update, last week, I know they dug the new holes along the section line part, but I don't know if they moved it.
No,
But
everything's-
Corey can add on to that.
Everything's been moved, and everything is to where we need the section line poster pulled out. They worked great with us and told us their plan. They were gonna, if they put anything into that pasture, they're just hot wiring it. No more posts are gonna be there. So they moved everything along the road to where it needed to be, and everything's good. So he called me a couple days ago, and we exchanged thank yous, and everything's good.
Okay. So that's going okay.
I'd say it's completed.
Yep. And then, projects moving forward, I need some motions to approve. One is, this is SRF, it's a Safe Roads Fund. We had put in a letter of support along with Dickinson Parks and Rec, the county road department did when Al was here. Anyway, we did get the grant for $300,000. The county's share of this project, if you could click on the next slide, it will show the map, where, or maybe they didn't put it in, on 39th Street. Or Broadway, West Broadway. Well, anyway, okay, we don't have that. On West Broadway is located the road that goes out below the State Avenue Bridge and heads out to the old golf course clubhouse, which is called the Heart River Retreat, I do believe. And then there's Turtle Park out there and the Dickinson Dike. That section of roadway is Stark County's road. And so then to do an overlay and milling, estimated engineering costs, which the city of Dickinson put together for us, and Al had sat down with him at the time, and they came up with $550,000. And so they did bid this. If they were to bid this out, the bids that the city's been getting is like 30% lower than the estimate. So if that's the case, our cost at 40% would be $154,000 if it came in 30% less, or if it's at this $550,000, our cost would be $220,000 for the project. I would recommend going forward with this, but that's up to you guys here if you want to. I have a letter typed up ready to send over to the city engineer, Josh, and anyway, the other thing on that is that I think it's a benefit to the community, and not only for the city of Dickinson, for all the citizens in Stark County, because it does, as Ben Ray has on his letter support, there's over 100 vehicles that travel out there. They use it for the Cops and Bobbers annual event out at the Dickinson Dike. There's league volleyball that happens out there in the sand volleyball area. They also have all of these activities that go on at the Heart River Retreat as well. So,
Okay.
do you have
Let's
any-
take that one up right away. If
So
we
is
can.
that is a complete mill and overlay, just not overlay?
Right.
And it's all the way to the clubhouse?
Yep, and then, yeah, it's not all the way to that clubhouse, it's just to the end of the pavement, and it's
Okay.
a short stretch. And then the millings that come from that, they would like to use it either in the parking lot for the retreat, or the parking lot for the dike, or the parking lot for the volleyball. There's 3 locations where you can just.
And when do they want to do this project?
Okay, that was my next thing, is that KLJ wrote the grant. I would suggest hiring KLJ to do our end of it, and they suggested to bid it out locally, because we have Northern Improvement and Central Specialties are in town, and so then you'd get a better bid if we were to complete it.
So this
summer.
fiscal year?
Yep.
Okay.
We have to give them this notice by 16th of this month,
Okay.
and to let them know that we're gonna go forward. And once we go forward, we have completion time of 2026, but we can get it done this year yet.
Would this be coming out of the road budget?
This would be coming out of, I think we have enough in that, it's called a prairie dog. There's like 1.2 million in that account. And, plus I had, checked too, is like with all the, stuff that we don't, that it's our cost for the non-participating on the chip seal and some of the other projects. And so that we would have enough to cover all that.
So last fall, when we were doing budgeting, Al presented us with 4 or 5 recommended projects. Would this jeopardize any of those 4 or 5 if we elected to move forward with those as well?
I don't believe so, but I think we would have enough for.
So this is 220,000, up to 220,000, correct?
Correct. Yep.
Well, I mean, or does it just come out of the contractor's line item for 2025?
Good. Either way.
Either way, I mean,
I
the
guess.
prairie dog funding or that.
Yes. Yep.
Okay. What are your wishes? If you're gonna go with it, I'd suggest we put a motion with a maximum up to dollar amount in there, I think. That way it gives you the liberties to not have to come back.
So we have two service providers currently working within the city this summer at some point, right? So the thought process is we put it out for bid. They're already
Yep,
here.
bid
They already have
locally, yep.
equipment. They'll probably,
Mobilization won't be as much yet.
And our match to the state dollars is 40%, is that correct?
Yep, that's what they told me.
40% of 550,000 is 220,000.
Yep.
Well, to move this along, I'll move that we authorize the bidding and awarding of the West Broadway Mill and Overlay project with a maximum cost of $220,000.
I'll second.
We have a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote. Chair votes aye. Commissioner Marsh.
Aye.
Commissioner White.
Aye.
Commissioner Claris.
Aye.
Commissioner Franchuk.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next item.
Yep, thank you, commissioners, for that. Next line item here I have is speed limit reduction request over on 109th. I think it's like 21st Street East, if it's the same one, Corey, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I would recommend to change that to 25 miles an hour through there because it's a narrow stretch of road. Looking at right by the end of Radar Base Hill there would be, I don't know if that was the initial request or.
So the initial request was, they come off the gravel pretty hot, and more and more people are moving and traveling out in that area, but moving out there to build their homes and subdivisions. There's not an established sidewalk, so they're out walking the road.
Yep.
The road is very narrow. The individual that contacted me said his wife and kids had to jump into the ditch. The ditches are kind of steep because there was a contractor that was flying through there, a known contractor, flying through there with a dually pickup truck, and it was pretty scary for him and his wife. So he's very adamant that he would like to have that speed limit even lower than it is now.
Yeah. It is currently 45, so.
So it would make, as you come into town, it's 45 again in the city limits once you come to the four-way stop there.
Correct.
Off past the curve. So, Mr. Lee, what's your recommendations out there?
Thanks for asking, Commissioner White. Obviously, that's becoming a very residential area. There's a lot of builds that are probably gonna be occurring in the next few years over there. Like you said, it is a very narrow road. Lots of traffic from the August House and other things out there. I would agree, 45 is too much. But what you guys wanna lower that down to, I would be agreeable with either of those options, but I think we need to go past the August House turn with whatever you do.
On the north end, right?
Correct.
Yeah. Okay.
And how far, did you bring a map of that? They didn't provide a map, did you?
No, I did not.
How far is the August House past the pavement where it ends?
Not very far.
Eighth
I'd
of a
say
mile at the most?
Yeah, I was gonna say 1,000 feet
And that's
from the
all,
pavement,
that's all 55 on gravel?
45.
45?
It's 45 from 32nd all the way to, all the way through to
And the
110.
issue starts at the end of the pavement or to include at the pavement at the corner?
Well, right before, halfway up between the August House and there's a subdivision on the east side.
As you go south.
Yeah, my thought was to have it in between, but if we want to go,
So if someone's driving out of town on 21st Street, they take the curve, go north.
yep, they'll go 45, and then we would reduce it at the 25 right at that intersection of going to the Radar Base Hill.
I know a lot of those little side roads are all 25 mile an hour.
You go north.
Yep, and the side roads going to the Rosh House subdivision are 25 into there, yep.
So as soon as you go north, make the curve,
Yeah,
go from 45 to 25.
correct. Unless you want to go sooner, that we could do that too as well, it just takes more signs. because when you place a 25, you have to put a 45 on the other side directly across, ordinary for enforcement.
Did anybody talk to them about 35, I guess? I'm just-
I brought it up several times and it was, reiterated back to me that they would, you know, he goes, if you put a 35, they're still gonna do 45. He goes, if you put a 25, they're still gonna do 35. It's pretty straight after that curve going north out of there, so, and it's only gonna get more congested at some point with homes being built out there, so I am for, you know, the 25. I'm for, you know, whatever the commission, I guess I'll make the motion.
So you're gonna make a motion?
So I'll make the motion of after the curve, after the, leaving the city, after the curve where the 45, is there a 45 sign on one side coming in?
Yes.
And then
Yep.
we will place a 25 going north, right?
Right.
And then once you hit the gravel, where's the next sign at? Is it past the August House?
Yeah, past the August House, but that's up by 32nd where it's 45 miles an hour. It depends where you want. We
So
can
when
place
do we-
it.
where
We
do
can
we-
place it right after the August House, I guess. Put
And
25
replace it
and
right after
45.
yeah.
Because we have to put 2 on that
'Kay.
end anyway, the north end, regardless, wherever
That'll
we
slow them
decide
down
to put
before
it.
they hit the pavement and
Yep.
then keep them slow enough until they
Okay.
pass the August House.
That's what we'll do then, if that's okay with you.
We got it, that's the motion.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Commissioner Marsh. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the reduced speed limit on 109th Avenue, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. Motion carries.
Okay.
Next.
Thank you, commissioners, too. Next thing is, Al had requested me to do some traffic counts, and so I did those. And so that was on 110th Avenue, and that was 337 vehicles per day. And then these traffic counters are out for a full week. And then 109th Avenue Southwest has 105 vehicles per day. I did check into what it would cost to reconstruct 110th and 33rd, and I do believe it's at $390-some thousand for the 2 miles just for reconstruction. And then we would have to gravel it ourselves, and then possibly maybe put the pipe in, or just have the contractor do it, whoever gets awarded that contract. But the contractors are looking for work. It would maybe be a good idea to actually advertise yet and move forward with that. I know that was one of the projects that Al had for the Prairie Dog Fund.
What was the estimate, Todd?
About 390-some thousand.
And we have culverts already sitting on the ground.
We have culverts, but I don't know if it meets the culverts that
Okay.
the engineer would have to go forward and do that. But I just had him put a estimate together what it would cost. It might come in quite a bit lower too.
So we'd have to engineer it and then bid it.
Correct.
Okay. So you're asking for authorization to engineer
To
it.
go ahead and, engineer and then have it bid out this year
With
yet.
just the re-gravel, or would, at some point, is that gonna get hard surfaced then?
Well, it could get hard serviced later on. I mean, it doesn't have to be this year or,
So then you would recommend that they build a road to the standards that it would need if we ever would run a hard surface?
correct.
Correct.
That's correct. And that's what that's figured in.
That would, seeing a 333 or 340 vehicles a day going on that road, you know, it's,
Yeah. And then the thing is too, is it eliminated that segment of road has snow problems. Even the 33rd is narrow, going to the subdivision out to the new bypass. It would be a benefit later on, I mean, to even just do this reconstruction part.
Well,
And then
my recommendation would is bid the reconstruction, but throw a bid in there to see what
Yeah,
over and
like
above
an
that
option.
would be for hard surfacing as
Sure,
well.
we
So
sure
you have
can do
that.
that.
Okay.
what is
Might
it?
as well.
What is that surfacing that we've done out there on some of them other roads?
It was just a ground, like millings that were taken off the interstate.
Was there some scoria with some millings or something that they were?
They didn't mix any scoria with it,
Okay.
no.
I thought they had some kind of surface that we're utilizing.
No.
So it's just millings that they utilize?
Yeah, we get millings off like an interstate, or we'll go and haul it and take it
Okay.
and put it down right away.
And that's what is that, 1 mile?
That would be 2 miles.
2 miles?
Total, 1 mile on 110 and then 1 mile on the 33rd.
Okay.
So, can we get a motion to do that?
If I may, Chairman, that stretch of gravel there is horrendous religiously.
On 110.
Yes.
And then 109 109 can be just, we would probably try to scare fire that in with the existing rock that's there and then relay it and see how it reacts. Or then, if that doesn't work, then we would re-gravel as well from the Jaeger pit.
Okay.
Well, if you want a motion, I'll make that motion that we get bids to reconstruct 110th Avenue Southwest and 33rd Street Southwest, and including hard surfacing.
Okay.
Okay.
And can I get a second to that?
I'll second.
Second by Commissioner White. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries. Okay,
The next item is on equipment purchase for our upcoming year. We have to put in a order a year ahead of time, ordinary, to get those pieces of equipment. I know Al had wanted to get a tandem truck, and we had looked at a oil tank trailer unit, which we need to, that's really priority to replace for safety concerns. Anyway, since we waited on the oiler and didn't get to go ahead to do that, that already went up $10,000 due to the tariffs, they tell me. And then the truck, tandem truck, we have 2 bids for the truck itself. One was $150,067 for the Western Star and $124,591 for the International. And then the attachments are $116,487, and that's from one company. That's the only one we can get stuff from now, I guess.
so the tandem truck built as your specking would be how much?
With the low truck, all combined would be $241,078. And the oil tank trailer unit would be $129,500.
How are you sitting on equipment budget?
So,
We,
That,
I'm sorry.
No,
So my thought process is, we don't even have enough drivers to fill the seats we have now, right?
correct.
So that tractor, tandem truck, I don't think, it should be an issue of just
Right.
saying we don't need it right now.
Right.
The other unit, the oil tanker, is 1979. You gave us some pricing here
Yep.
previously to that, and it's gone up. That's a general consensus. I've had some emailing back and forth on it.
Sure.
That everybody agrees we need a new one, right?
Yep, correct.
What can we repurpose our old one with? Can we sell it, give it to another county, utilize it, or?
The only thing is about giving it to another county, if we have a safety concern that I don't.
Is there a
know.
safety concern?
Yes.
Just because of the.
Because of the flues that are inside that tank.
Mhm.
And you have to be, it hasn't been inspected for a long time.
So then it's a safety concern for our people
Yes.
to operate it as well?
Yes, if you don't fill that up correctly, as we're trying to train people to know that, we've already had it blow up once.
so what's your recommendation?
My recommendation would be to go ahead and order a new oil tank trailer unit
And do what with the existing one?
and just either
Disassemble it?
disassemble it or however we
How
can.
much is an inspection cost to do?
I think the way Randy told me was beyond that already.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. We could probably see if there's some interest out there and somebody, wanting it.
I could
don't
tell
know,
you
scrapping it.
that unit was bought when I first started working for the county, 1979.
I'll make a motion to, and that's out of Grand Forks, right?
Yes, I do, or it's Swanson out of Minot is the vendor.
And that we will have it ready in how long?
They figure it'll be a year out.
By this time next year?
Yeah, and we might be done with crack sealing by then.
By the time it's ready?
But we might get lucky too, or could come in early, I don't know, but, we do need it. And I think a safety issue is,
And I don't have the number in front of me with the other 10,000 on top of it. What is it?
well, it'd be 129.5 is what, that's with the 10,000 included. It was lower than that. It was at 119.5.
So I would make a motion to go ahead and approve for the road department to purchase and replace the oil tanker that we currently have.
I'll second.
Paul? Okay, we have a motion, or was that Dean? I'm sorry. Any other discussion?
Are they gonna put it in the next year's budget? In the
Well,
26 budget
that was the
then?
basis for my question. Where are we
I would
looking
believe
numbers
so.
wise?
I'm not
We
familiar with that
pay at
yet.
the time of delivery,
Still new at
correct?
this game
Yeah.
here.
Okay. Okay, so the motion is to purchase the new oil tanker truck and pay for it under the 2026 budget.
Right,
'Kay.
because we just have to get an order put in. and
'Kay.
So,
I'll take a roll call vote. Commissioner White?
Aye.
Commissioner Franchuk?
Aye.
Commissioner Claris?
Aye.
Commissioner Marsh?
Aye.
Chair votes aye, motion approved.
thank you, commissioners, for that.
Okay.
Guys will appreciate that as well. The next thing I have is, just some geographical information systems updates. We did update the, viewers, the new tax parcel viewer is up and running. The zoning viewer is up and running, and then we also have a office-only auditor's viewer. So commissioners, if you would like to have that as well, I can send you the link to that. The tax parcel viewer has received 1,200 total hits already, and that's averaging 45 per day. The zoning viewer has 1,000 total hits already, and that's averaging 9 per day. So that's good news for that. And then Pro West Incorporated is the engineering firm that Esri, which is the software that you use the geographical information system with. They highlighted Stark County here a couple of weeks ago. I think I sent you guys all the link if you wanted to be attended that. They, on their webinar, which is broadcasted nationwide because they are a nationwide recommended company. And anyway, they highlighted our materials dashboard, which is all our gravel. And since we were kind of booked for time, I would have showed that to you today, but I'll do it another day. Or if you want to just stop in the office and see it.
Yeah, I'd like to, I just gonna bring it down here and, because then it'd be
Yeah.
broadcasted to the people too, so I mean, that'd be very interesting.
I can tell you that when I do the GPS from the beginning, like a beginning point and an end point of where we put the gravel down, I have that all, it's all mapped. And then I run a report from where the guys put their loads in and stuff. Some of my reports have come back only 200 yards difference, so, which is amazing.
It's amazing, yes.
There's sometimes I have to look in and say, well, why is it that big a difference? But then I found out that when we were entering it in, hauling material was just one line item. Now I have it, if they put it on a stockpile, like haul it to the shop, then they put down stockpile. So then that made the difference. So that's been taken care of. So other than that, that's all I have on geographical information. Had a lot of numerous requests for approach permits, utility permits, water line permits as well. And those are all been approved and going forward with that. And then I also had a request for Adopt a Highway program for cleaning up. So I did some research on that, how the DOT handles that. DOT has some forms, and they said I could use those and just have to change the agreements on that. And then I would take it up to Amanda, and she can look at that. And then the next meeting, I would bring it to you guys and have that looked at.
Who pays for the signs when those adopt signs? goes up?
Usually it's the county.
Okay.
That we've done in the past. We have some signs available. We could actually put those up already for them But ordinary to do it the right way, I like the way the DOT has the Adopt a Highway program. It's kind of explains to the group that's taking care of it, what they can and cannot do, tips on what to be, prepared for, because nowadays you really don't want to pick up a lot of things out in the, so I wanted to check to see what our liability for that is and make sure that if the DOT has this in place. And so I did call their district office guy and our manager, and he told me, yeah, go ahead and use those if we want, so. The other thing is on the Highway 10 turnout, I know Andrew isn't here. He wanted to meet about the right-of-way, possible purchase right-of-way and temporary easement going around it if that does get constructed.
That was for the roundabout.
For the roundabout, yep. And if we could, I would like Commissioner White to be there and whoever else would like to, I would, maybe Neil, if you would like to be there.
That might be
'cause,
something that gets pushed down
You know,
the road again, but
so I don't,
When is that?
whenever.
To be scheduled.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
to be determined on that, so.
I'll work it out with Corey, and if I can be there, I'm
Okay.
more than happy to go.
real quick, the Taylor Trap Club, how much loads did they take?
That was not, nothing has been done yet.
Okay.
Keith Bogan was wondering if, are we supposed to haul that, or are they gonna haul it?
I think
We
they're-
could,
They're hauling it,
they
correct?
said.
They said all we had to do was load it.
Okay, so then I'll relay that on
Then
to
you
him.
just update the auditor's office so they know that.
Yep,
Yeah, I think he's only asking for 3-4 loads or something, wasn't it?
okay,
Yeah.
okay. And they're actually they're hauling some material right now from the Heinley pit as we speak, so.
Okay.
I mean, not to there, but to another location. We are doing that ourselves onto another road up northeast.
The last thing I have is Highway 10 East, the truck bypass. I think we did some painting over some white striping last year. Was there something we were supposed to
Yeah.
go back and complete this year?
Yeah, when that chip seal is gonna be here, and they do that chip seal, they're gonna chip seal that section as well, and then they would put the new striping
Okay.
once that is completed. And then I got one other thing that came up is on Friday, last week Friday, HDNR, which is the engineering firm that is assigned to us from the DOT for bridge inspections. He sent me a list of 96 of those. And that's all our state inventory bridges that we have on hand, that we have in the county. So I don't know if that's going to be the complete whole thing at once this time or not. Haven't, but if it is, because our last bill, our share was $13,825. So know that one time when we had a big amount, it was over 40-some thousand.
That's the inspection fee.
Yes,
And if they rate them deficient, we have to put a plan together to
that's
replace?
correct.
Okay.
Or what, like sometimes they send out a maintenance thing that you have to like check them, what your plan is to check them annually or 6 months or monthly or whatever.
That's a non-action item, though,
Yeah,
just information.
just information for you.
Got it.
Right.
Okay.
Just one thing I'd like to add. So I think they reached out to you as well, City of South Hart.
That's correct. I've kind of forgot about that, but
Yeah, well, they reached out. They're just, I mean, they're asking for some help as far as some crosswalks and some safety signage.
yeah, like striping for the crosswalks that are at the school. They were wondering if it's their responsibility or the county's. And I do believe it was ours because when we redid that, we had that done back then. So I did contact Northern Plains Engineering, and there is that we might be able to work that in with that striping, and we can get that done. The signs that are there, I looked, and there's 8 signs, pedestrian signs along there, and if they would want all 8 of them replaced with lighted signs, then those signs run $1,675 a piece for solar operated.
Where were they looking at putting those?
Where they are right now, just to replace the existing ones
okay.
and have them lighted. But they were lighted at one time, and like when I drove there, it was like somebody had taken them all off, like they didn't like the lighting.
Okay.
And so, I did drive around like in the city of Dickinson here, just to see it when I'm going to one place or another. I checked that out, and all those aren't lighted at all in town here, that I didn't go drive by one of the schools to see if they're lit, but we could get 2, for them, possibly, if that's what you want to agree on here. I don't know.
And are we still offering, can folks come down to the county pit and still get gravel? Is there a certain time frame or day that we do that?
No, we haven't set up any specific date. They have been just calling us, and then we tell them, this is what it's gonna cost, you pay us, and then we'll load you up to 100 yards, and that's been working great so far. Haven't had many calls. We had a few, but it's all being taken care of. The only things we had that were sent out were like when Dunn County and Billings County and the city of Belfield came for MC 3000 oil for crack sealing, and we sent bills to them from the auditor's office.
Okay,
Other than that, everything's going pretty good.
okay. Any questions, comments? Not, thank you.
Okay, thanks guys for your time.
So Carrie, you want to come up for the Dickinson Clay Target Club?
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Carrie Roller, and I'm here to do a brief presentation on the Dickinson Clay Target Club, just for public information. We usually have another girl that comes with us, Sierra, but her mom's here today. She's working. So I have my daughter, Jaylee Roller, with me, and she's just going to share a little bit of information on our program and how it has impacted her.
Hi, my name is Jaylee Roller. I'm 16 years old, and I've been shooting since 2022 spring season. So I've been doing it for just a couple years now, and my favorite thing probably about shooting trap is how flexible some of the schedules can be, because I like to stay a pretty busy person, so we have like 3 different days in the week that we have the opportunity to go and shoot. So that's kind of a nice little thing. And then all of our community there is always very positive and very nice and fun. You don't really have much of people tearing each other down, or, I mean, in a lot of other sports, you'll have your coach screaming at you because you're not good enough, but we never have that in trap. It's always very encouraging, and it's also just it's very chill, which is what I like about it. It also may or may not help that it's one of the sports I can beat my older brothers in, which is always kind of a plus to have. So I'd say that's my favorite things about shooting.
So you started when you were 13?
Yeah, if that's the math.
Is that the
Yes.
math? And so how many other young people, I mean, is it a league thing?
Yes.
Where you go out and compete
So,
against people your own age?
we have a high school league, and then there's also like adult leagues throughout the summer. But the spring league is the high school league. And when I first joined, we had under 30 kids in the high school league, and now there is 62. So it's very fast growing, for
amazing.
sure.
So is this a sanctioned sport through the school, right?
Unfortunately, it's not right now. We're working with some of the schools in hopes to possibly have it sanctioned through the school, like all the
Okay.
other sports are.
So you bring your own shotgun out there and they provide the shells?
They
Or?
do have, so they actually have some shotguns like out at the trap, because a lot of people, like, they'll have like field guns, or like they might not have a shotgun at all.
Somebody's
So it
just
still gives them the
trying it out.
opportunity to shoot.
And then do you bring your own ammunition or do they provide it
So we get provided 3 boxes.
per event or per time that you're there?
Yeah, so you get your 3 cases, and if you manage to go through that, you have to buy your own shells. But when we go to like tournaments or whatever, like they have some scholarship opportunities, oftentimes our coach will bring the shells for that too.
So you guys have a state tournament, don't you? Coming up here? Where is it at this year?
Horace.
Okay, it's kind of always there, isn't it?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're really the only place big enough to host it.
Do we have any qualifiers this year?
We do have several kids that are signed up this year. I think the deadline has come, I think that was just last week the deadline was, so I think we have, I can't remember how many kids we have. I think we have at least 3 squads that'll be
I was
going.
about to say, it was a pretty good
So do you have to attain a certain score to qualify to
Nope.
go to state? Or you just,
Any kids can go to state, so we encourage them all to go, just because with our league, it's virtual. So we compete against all the other teams in North Dakota, but we shoot at our own club, and then we track scores through an online system. So we're not actually going there. So we're really encouraging the kids to actually go to state, so they can see how an actual trap meet is set up. And we are actually having our own high school invitational this weekend on Saturday. If any of you would like to come out and check it out, we'd love to have you come show up.
Well, I understand Jaylee's a pretty good shooter, so what's the average these days, Jaylee?
So for my average right now in the high school league, it's a 23.7.
Nice.
out of
So-
25?
Out of 25.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's great. And what's your brother's average?
Well, he doesn't actually shoot through the high school.
They quit coming.
Yeah. they've given up a little bit after a while. If I can still pull their leg and convince them to shoot, I think
They're open
Jaden
to
shoots.
Do we have any perfect
like
scores
18,
yet?
19.
Do you have a perfect score yet?
Oh yeah.
Many.
So I have a 25 straight, and then I also the same day I got my 25 straight, I actually shot a 50 straight. So
Nice.
I ran 2. Yeah, that's also a fun thing is, even after you kind of get that perfect score, there's always something beyond it. So you have your 25, your 50, your 75, and then your 100. And then there's also doubles. So they fling 2 targets in the sky, and you have a double barrel shotgun, and you shoot both of them. So then you can go get a 50 straight in that as well, which is actually what her daughter just did this past weekend, which is pretty incredible.
And these girls have challenged the sheriff's department to show up, and they still haven't
I've seen 'em
accepted their
shoot.
invitation.
I've seen him shoot, Carrie. You don't
I've
want to see that.
I've gone out with them, yes.
Yeah, I don't think they're gonna accept that challenge.
I have to write mine down because I'm not a speaker. So thank you for the opportunity to speak. My name is Melissa. I have a daughter who is currently in the high school trap program. I'm here today to help enlighten and share with you the unique and valuable role the Trap Club plays in our community. Dickinson has desperately needed a place that brings every family, friend, high school, college, business, and church together. Being a member of our club offers something special to every cause in our community. My family experience with our club started through the high school league with our daughter, Sierra. What we thought was just a normal high school sport turned into something more valuable than anything we could have imagined. It brought family unity. It gave family common ground. This has happened with more families than I can count. Kids connecting with parents in positive structure settings. Another fun fact is the business owners and regular people get together and know each other. And next thing you know, people are making career changes or employers are finding star employees. Another key benefit for Dickinson is because of Blaine's leadership and coaching, Dickinson's youth is on the radar for many colleges across the country. Currently, we have 62 students in the high school league with all high schools in our county. It costs us about $450 per student with ammo and clay, and we do this with donations with the businesses. Sierra, while part of the high school trap, she has chosen to go much further. She also travels to local states and all over North Dakota for the ATA competitions throughout the summer. Her goal by next summer of 2026 are to attend Michigan for the high school nationals and the ATA World Championship at the end of July. As to our club, there will never be a time that my family won't be a member. Sierra has already made it clear she wants her wedding and any baby showers held at this club. That's how much this place has impacted, or has been a staple in her life. Thank you.
So the DCTC, which is Dickinson Clay Target Club, is a newly formed nonprofit 501c3 organization. We're located on the Dickinson Parks and Rec property at 3820 115th Avenue Southwest, right next to the Crooked Crane Trail. We host private sporting events for families, friends, civic groups, and companies from June through October. We have a summer trap league where we bring adults and youth together, mentoring our next generation and creating an atmosphere that's inviting for everyone. Very, very soon, we will be breaking ground on a brand new clubhouse, and that will have a year-round simulation room where our kids are going to be able to practice through the winter, and a training place for a hunter safety program. We're open to the public on Tuesday and Thursday evenings, as well as on Sunday afternoons. If you guys have any questions, I'd be happy to answer any of them. And thanks for your time.
Technically, they have broken ground now.
What's the
Very-
membership cost?
It's $40 a year for a family. For a family, yep, and $20 for students.
Is there a age limit? The youngest, what's the youngest age that you could?
So for our high school program, to actually be in league, they have to be 12 years old, so 6th grade and up, for our high school league. But if there are kids that are younger than that are able to shoot, they're more than welcome to come out with their family members and shoot. They just wouldn't be able to participate on our high school league yet, but we welcome that, encourage that, because then we can get them ready for when they are able to join the high school league.
Do we have a state champ at that club?
We may this year. Sierra is shooting very well. She just went to Billings this last weekend and participated in the oyster shoot and won HOA, which is high overall. So she did
I
very
think
well.
I talked to one of the coaches. He's,
5 over 600.
I think I talked to one of the coaches. Isn't there over 80-some clubs across the state that are in the high school clubs?
There are a lot of clubs. I'm not sure exactly how many there are, but we'll be going to State and Horace June 12th, 13th, 14th, that weekend, right? Father's Day weekend. And there will be roughly 500 kids participating in that state shoot.
So on the state level, is there any credits available for participating in something like this?
Not that I know of. No. Right. Yep.
That's what I was getting at, is a sanctioning by the
Yep,
state.
it would, I know that, I know Doug Damas, his son shoots for Trinity, and he was visiting with them to see if that's something that they can get going.
How many schools in North Dakota have annexed this sport into their schools?
That's
you
a
know?
question I can't answer. I don't know. Blaine
Okay.
might know that. Blaine Dukart, our coach.
He's an amazing coach.
He's very, very good. I'm very good. Yeah. We have a lot of very happy kids that are out there every week and lined up waiting for him. So.
And I want to just correct the record. He did accept the shoot off with the kids. So they're currently working on getting a team carry. Didn't know.
Nothing like being embarrassed, yeah.
Make sure you, make sure,
Well, I'm just making sure he holds up to his commitment.
make
He's-
sure the newspaper's out there for that.
Invite to that too.
You might have to bring your own shells that have a wider shot pattern.
So, and as you can see up on the board, that's the picture of our new clubhouse that's going to be built and the interior layout there. So we're very excited for that. And next year, hope to put all brand new trap houses in, hopefully 6 of them.
What's the kind of time frame for completion of this facility?
Well, we were hoping to have it enclosed by June, but I don't think that's going to happen now. But hopefully by this fall.
Nice.
Yep.
That's all, you got some federal funding for that or some federal grant?
Yeah, they got the Game and Fish grant, and we've had a lot of private entities that have donated in kind, donating time, donating supplies, also just giving donation for building sponsors. So if that's something that people are interested, please contact Blaine Dukart or myself. And yes, we have different levels of sponsorship that you can give, and we'll do you know, depending on what that donation is, a plaque on the wall, or, you know, you want to give us a big donation, we'll put your name up on the building. Any other questions?
Thank you very much.
No?
Very
Thank
interesting.
you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay. Taryn. Thank you for waiting.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Okay, I'm gonna hand these out. I'll let you pass it down if that's okay. Well, thank you for having me. Dean, I just handed him some packets that he's gonna pass down. On top is our annual report. It's at the printers. You'll all be getting a copy of it. But I just wanted to bring a copy of it today just so you had it. So just for the record, my name is Taryn Dorr. I'm the Executive Director for Roosevelt Custer Regional Council. Roosevelt Custer is one of 8 regional councils in the state of North Dakota, and we represent Region 8 here in Southwest North Dakota. Our primary role is to support economic and community development at the regional level. So that means we are a resource to communities, whether that's providing technical assistance, strategic planning, helping identify funding opportunities, or writing or managing grants. Those are some of the services that we offer. Our goal going forward is to be a trusted partner to both our counties and our cities across this region. So I just want to emphasize today how important your partnership is to us as an organization. So your county support is what allows us to access funds from the Economic Development Administration, so that your local match is our funding match against the EDA funding that we do receive. So this is how every regional council in North Dakota and across the country is supported. And so your investment is what makes it possible for us to bring those federal dollars back into this region. I'm very proud of how we've grown the regional council over the last few years. I took over as executive director in July of 2022. And last year alone, we helped secure over $4 million outside funding into Region 8. We supported infrastructure projects, fire hall projects. We helped write grants through the Department of Energy for some of our rural communities. We helped expand workforce development efforts. So we launched what we call the Wide Open Wonder campaign. That's a Southwest North Dakota workforce marketing campaign. We have an online job board. We have a website. We're currently making a relocation guide for Southwest North Dakota that will be pushed out. We've been doing a lot of paid online marketing Southwest North Dakota, the great things that we have here. We have photographers in every county in the region that we have contracted with, one right here in Stark County. And so that photographer will be taking new pictures, so we have more materials to advertise our communities. We also worked with a videographer that did videos and creative videos for Southwest North Dakota. So we've been putting those out on YouTube, social media, and reaching those markets that potentially could look at moving to Southwest North Dakota. We also are currently working on a tourism planning effort. We know that with the library coming in 26, that the potential for tourism traffic in Southwest North Dakota increases for all of us. And we want to make sure that every county in Southwest North Dakota has the opportunity to capitalize on that, bring tourism into their communities. And so we're helping them figure out what their assets are, how they can invest to make tourism a bigger part of their economics in their communities. We also did State of Region 8 last year, and this was, I think we had 80 people at our first State of Region event. We had them talk about legislative issues. We had roundtables. People stuck around for the roundtables that day and talked to legislators, and we took all that information. We put it into a legislative packet that you have in your folder today. We mailed postcards to every legislator in the state and said, this is the priorities for Southwest North Dakota. So that is a key thing that we do. We want to bring our communities together. We want to bring the people in our region together and hear what they have going on. So we've really got the regional council back on solid ground. I'm very proud to say that. We're really working hard to build a stronger, more active council that serves our region well. Our mission going forward is to become the go-to resource for our counties and cities. We want to expand the technical assistance that we offer. We want to secure more funding for our region and continue to build that long-term momentum. And we're committed to that. I encourage you to stay involved. I know there's a copy of our newsletter. I think most of you are signed up for our newsletter, but if you're not, please let us know. We'd like you to be able to get that information about what we've going on. That comes out monthly. Neil currently serves on our board of directors. Dean did prior to that. And then join us for our State of Region 8 event on May 20th in Medora that evening. We'll have a panel of legislators. We'll be giving an update on what's been happening in Southwest North Dakota, and we'd love to see you there. So we want to just thank you again for your continued partnership. We truly value that. So with that, do you have any questions for me?
So how did the legislature treat you?
You know what? I've been doing economic development for 17 years, and this was probably the year I learned the most, good or bad. It treated us well. I think from a rural standpoint, we saw a lot of funding discussed for rural. It was cut back quite a bit. We were disappointed to see the housing infrastructure bill cut that last night. I think that would have been a really big thing for some of us in our communities, but we're going to take the programs that they did allocate funding to and make sure as much of it as we can comes back to Southwest North Dakota.
Thank you.
So, yeah. I've never made that many trips to Bismarck in my life. But thank you guys very much for your time today.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Taryn. All right, moving on, Mr. Josephson.
Good morning, Chairman Messer, Commissioner Steve Josephson, County Planner. We've got a number of things that the Planning and Zoning Commission had public hearings on and made recommendations on, so I will just dive into them. So the first one was a public hearing for RZ 2025. That was Mylon Schmidt requested a rezoning from agriculture to agricultural residential for a property located in the northeast quarter of Section 36, Township 139 North, Range 96 West. It's approximately 40.4 acres. Both the Planning and Zoning Commission and staff recommended approval, and I'm here to answer any questions you may have.
I'll make the motion to approve RZ 02-25.
Any question, or excuse me, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you, Mr.
Thank you.
Josephson.
Next one, RZ 0325, Mylon Schmidt requested a rezoning from agriculture to agricultural residential for a property located in the northeast quarter of Section 31, Township 139, Range 95 West, approximately 48.23 acres. Both the Planning and Zoning Commission and staff recommend approval, and I'm here to answer any questions you may have.
I'll make the motion to approve RZ 03-25.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion second. Any other discussion? Hearing none. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Mr. Josephson.
Thank you. Item number 4, this was a Central Specialties, Inc. Incorporated requested a temporary use permit for a hot mix asphalt plant operation on approximately 20-acre lease area. It's located in the west one half of the northwest quarter of Section 22, 140 North, Range 95 West. They are requesting this because they're working on a local road project. Both the Planning and Zoning Commission and staff recommend approval subject to conditions. The applicant reviewed the conditions and had no objections, and I'm here to answer any questions you may have.
I'll make a motion to approve the temporary hot plant at TUP 01-25.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Any other discussion? Hearing none. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Mr. Josephson.
Thank you. The next one is CUP 0125. Tyson Schuster requesting a conditional use permit for an accessory dwelling unit on a 30.52 acre property located in the southeast quarter of Section 29, Township 137 North, Range 99 West, and in the southwest quarter of Section 28, Township 137 North, Range 99, with an address of 5266 Highway 85. It's for a family member who wants to move in on to the property. Both the Planning and Zoning Commission and staff recommended approval subject to conditions, and I'm here to answer any questions you may have.
Make the motion to approve the conditional use permit 01-25.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries.
Thank you. I'll notify all the applicants after I'm done here. The next one is it's an amendment to the Stark County zoning ordinance to the definition section. It would add definitions for greenhouse, nursery, roadside stand, and truck gardening. Those are listed as permitted uses in 3 different zoning districts. Just wanted to put some definitions in there to help the public, when they're interested in doing that. Both the Planning and Zoning Commission and staff recommend approval, and I'm here to answer any questions you may have.
So for clarification, now you've expanded the greenhouse, nursery, roadside stand definitions, and what are we exactly doing here?
You're amending the definition section of the zoning ordinance to include those because there's no definitions now.
Got it. Thank you.
I'll make a motion to approve the 4 definitions.
Have a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Any other discussion? Hearing none. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries. Mr. Joseph.
Thank you. The next one is a ZTA 0325. It's a proposed amendment to Section 5.1, the Agriculture Zoning District of the Stark County of the zoning ordinance. Currently in the zoning ordinance, if you look up in section 624 about golf driving ranges, archery range, miniature golf course, go-kart, track, or race cart, it says that it's allowed as a conditional use in agricultural zoning districts. However, if you go to the agriculture zoning district, it's not listed there. So this is just making sure it's internal consistency. It's not changing anything. It's just stating it in the agriculture zoning district.
So I'll make a motion to approve ZTA 03-25.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign, motion carries. Mr. Josephson.
Last zoning code amendment, ZTA 0425, and this is just a change for the estate residential zoning district. At the time that was approved, it was just limited to an area between the Dickinson, ETZ, and Gladstone, because there's already developments. Those are 2-acre developments. What this would do is now that we have our comprehensive plan, and that has a residential rural future land use category, which states development of a minimum of 2 acres. This would expand it to those areas so designated in the county. Both the Planning and Zoning Commission and staff recommend approval, and I'm here to answer any questions you may have.
I'll make a motion to approve ZTA 04-25.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you. And then the last 2 items, this is for the Fisher gravel pit. These are conditional use permits. Conditional use permits are conditioned so that they're approved they have to be renewed every year. That way, someone can get out and check for weeds and other things of that sort. So the first one is to renew the conditional use permit for a gravel pit operation on a 30-acre parcel located in the southeast quarter of Section 27, Township 140, Range 95. And I think you have to do these separately.
Okay.
This doesn't go to Planning and Zoning Commission. This goes directly to County Commission.
So can I get a motion for the approval in section the southeast of 27?
I'll make the motion.
Okay, can I get a second?
Second.
Okay, any discussion, questions? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries. Okay, next.
All right, the next one is a conditional use permit for a gravel pit operation on a 10-acre site. This is also within a larger area located in the northeast quarter of Section 27, Township 140, Range 95.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve the conditional use
Motion.
permit
Can I
for
get a
this.
second?
Second.
Second. Any other discussion, questions? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries.
We will let Fisher know, and just to let you know, we have 3 applications that have come in for the May hearing so
Okay,
far.
just stay at the podium. We'll take the Planning and Zoning Board appointments or appointment right now, as long as you are here. Mr. Franchuk?
We had 2 applicants for that. Byron Richard wanted to step off the board, and we had 2 applicants on that. We interviewed them. They both were very qualified candidates on it. We're interested in, but we decided to go with the one that lived in the eastern part of the county, because we have more representation for the eastern part of the county. So I recommend approval of Larry D. Goldsmith to the Planning and Zoning Board.
What was the last name?
Goldsmith.
He lives out in the Antelope subdivision.
Oh, over there.
Actually, I live in Richmond, and right now he's going to build it over in there, yes.
Okay.
In fact, he actually came to planning and zoning for something, so.
Okay. Okay, we have a motion to fill the Byron Richard vacancy with Mr. Larry Goldsmith. Can I get a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Questions? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign, motion carries. And you'll
Thank
let Mr. Goldsmith
We
know?
will, yes, we'll let both of them know
Let
the
both
board's
know.
decision.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you very much, appreciate it.
Okay, any wishes for a break? Yes. Okay, we'll take a 5-minute break. We'll start again at 11:32.
Call back to order.
Okay, we are at the Veteran Service Report. Jessica, do you want to give us one? I see you prepared one.
Still good morning. Good morning, Commissioners. I am Jessica McClellan, the Veteran Service Officer. I did type up a brief summary of what our office does. I went back through the year of different events we have attended, so I don't need, if you want me to read it, but just a couple highlights. In March, I was a part of the Welcome Home 50th year anniversary to the Vietnam veterans. I'd like to thank Sheriff Lee for coming and supporting that. We served 150 veterans lunch, and Subway did donate all the food. And then last week on May 1st, we had the ribbon cutting ceremony for the new VA clinic. Thank you, Commissioner Marsh. He attended and supported it, and it was a good turnout. Any questions you have for me?
Very enlightening little report.
Fits our time agenda very well.
Yes, yes.
Thank you for the update.
Yeah, thank you. If you have anything, you know how to get a hold of me.
All right, Mr. Brad, Emergency Management.
Good morning, Commissioners and Chair. I'll figure out what side I'm going to plug this in on here. I'll try to keep it short and sweet and to the point here, too. Okay, so for April, all community lifelines were green, no issues there. Calls for service for April, we had 24 controlled burns. There were 2 gas leaks, 8 bonfires, 7 brush fires, 2 vehicle fires, 4 smoke smells, 3 structure fires, and then 15 that fell in the all other category. So a total of 65 total calls. So those controlled burns, a lot of those were requests being called in, and then either denials or burn barrels, because burn barrels were accepted during the burn restriction that we had in place. Drought for April, so there's no change really from March to April with Stark County. Some of the state did have some improvements, but unfortunately for our area, Stark County had no change. We're still in that severe drought. The outlook from April through the end of July, the brown is where drought persists. That kind of yellow golden color is potentially drought developing throughout the next couple months. Some of the recent fires throughout the state, large majorities are over 3,000 acres. The state for the month of April had 293 fires across the state, just shy of 19,000 acres burned. That is just the month of April. Stark County had 3 fires with roughly 4 acres burned. And that's all I have for that. Do you have any questions?
Anybody?
Okay. And then I do have a request, which you should have in your packets, for the Motorola portable radios. So we are requesting purchasing 2 APX 8000 portable radios to be used for mutual aid calls throughout the county for and surrounding areas for any calls, I guess, for service. We've learned kind of with the Siren program moving forward, which is the state interoperable radio network. With that moving forward, there are some counties and some agencies that are not moving to Siren, whereas Stark County will be fully on Siren. So with that, we're looking at purchasing a couple additional radios and have them programmed to those surrounding channels, so that when calls do come in, that we have a radio that we can use to communicate with those other agencies. So just looking for that approval to make the purchase for $13,836.22 for those 2 APX radios.
So what channels are them APX radios have on them, frequencies? How many frequencies are you planning to put into them?
So the radios, these APX 8000s, they're a dual band, so they're capable of doing VHF, which is what a lot of the surrounding counties are on, and same with state radio. State radio isn't switching over until a couple years down the road. And then they'll have the Siren channels as well. So it'll be dual band, dual purpose. So we'll have like our county road crew operates on VHF bands currently, and as of right now, they're not planning on switching over to Siren. So to communicate with the county road crew, those agencies would have to have a radio capable of communicating on VHF.
So, this is basically more so towards our counties that are part of a mutual aid agreement. So, and those counties have not agreed to go to the 800 megahertz. Is that correct?
Yes, that's
Siren.
correct. And a lot of it is due to funding. The switchover can be very costly. It's involving new radios, kind of new infrastructure for those assets. So.
Well, I like it just for the capability. I mean, it doesn't sound like not all the bugs are worked out of the state network either, the new one.
Yeah.
So these are portable units?
These are portables, that's correct.
Handheld?
Yep, handheld.
Up on your vest or your belt?
Yep.
$8,000 each?
Yeah, if you look, there are they do give us some price breaks, some discounts in there. So yes, if we were buying them like outright, they're right around that $8,500 a piece.
Okay.
So with those price breaks, the total comes to that $13,000.
Well, it's unfortunate that we have to do this, but it's very important that our agencies be able to communicate too. So I'll make the motion to approve this purchase of those two radios.
Would you put a dollar amount on them?
$13,836.22.
Okay. Have a motion for the purchase of the two radios. Do I have a second?
Where are you purchasing these through? I'm sorry.
So the company that we'd be purchasing them through is through ECI Electronic Communications out of Bismarck is the company that provided the quote for us, and that's where we've purchased our previous radios for most of the fire departments or most of the entities across our county have used ECI as their.
So what brings the cost of these radios to that high though? Are they intrinsically safe? Are they?
A lot of it is so the dual band brings the price up quite a bit, and it's unfortunately, Motorola kind of has the market on that. So, and
especially when you tie into everybody else's systems,
yep.
It's they can ask whatever they want.
Yeah, and there are other vendors out there, but we've ran into there are some agencies that have purchased other brands, and we've ran into issues. We don't know if it's something on the dispatch side or like dispatch council side, or if it's due to the other brand radios. But we have ran into issues with radios outside of 99% of our county uses Motorola, and the couple agencies or the agency that has a different brand, we've had some issues, and I guess at this point we don't know if it's that brand or if it's something in the programming, but we have had issues with other brands being intermixed with the Motorola system.
So Motorola, you obviously want to go with Motorola.
Yeah. Yes.
Sheriff Lee, where did you buy your radios? Same place in Bismarck? Okay. What was it cost on them 2 years ago?
It was over $5,000.
Just know you got approved for the budget to buy them?
I mean, they're like anything else, obviously. They go up every year, and it's like everything else, they get out of control. But we had the $1,500
Yeah. So
return from the state on each one.
Yeah. So in the end of March, the state basically pulled that reimbursement. If anything ordered prior to March 31st, you could get a $1,500 price break. Unfortunately, we found out about this whole radio issue after the fact. Otherwise, we would have made the request 2 months ago.
Well, even a worse part of this story is eventually this VHF network is going to go away completely. So these things will be, basically
obsolete.
It
so
is,
just,
and then
I'm going to interrupt you for a second. Can I get a second on the motion so we can continue discussion?
A second.
By Commissioner Marsh. Go ahead, Brad.
Okay. The other issue that we've kind of discovered over the last last month even, some of the counties in our region are not planning on switching over at all. So they're going to stay on the VHF system. They're just going to maintain the equipment that they have, and then try to purchase the state VHF equipment when the state decides to decommission all that stuff. So there are some areas that don't plan on switching at all, just to maintain interoperability with like Montana and South Dakota. So that's kind of, it's not saying that in 2-3 years that the VHF side is going to be obsolete. I mean, it in a sense it is, but it could still be used potentially with these radios moving forward as well. And then,
Well,
sorry,
some of
Lon.
these small counties, it's going to be really problematic for them to come up with the funding to go to the 800 megahertz.
And
And that's why they're going to stay.
Yeah. That's kind of why we're looking at if we can, get a couple of radios just to provide as like a mutual aid type thing as we are requested to, to come help out. We can bring these radios along, and then at least that way there's some communication. Dunn County, pretty much all of our surrounding counties are on state radio. So until state radio switches over, which is hopefully in the next couple of years, they're gonna maintain that VHF side. So, and we're planning on maintaining our VHF, the current setup we have with VHF, as long as we can until it becomes too costly to maintain it.
So these top of the line radios, right, with the digital readouts, can we get 800 megahertz dual band radios? Motorola also sells that serves the same purpose. You're gonna use these, and so you're gonna buy them $20-some thousand worth of radios, and then if there is an issue that when we need them or when they may need to be replaced in 5 years. How many? I mean, are all your radios in use that you purchased?
Yes, if we have a spare, it would be one, I believe, but I think we're all in use right now.
So the question I have is, how's this reflect in your budget?
So we don't have, so that's why I'm, I guess, bringing it up to you guys here, is we don't have it in our budget. So the request would be if we could take it out of like the general fund for
What's
the
delivery time on them?
They're, Corey Lee, do you know
Sooner
the
than
last?
you think, because
It's-
Corey ordered a bunch and he said it'd be 6 months and 2 weeks.
I would say it's kind of up in it's all dependent on how busy they are. We've had some, like Commissioner White was saying, that where it could be 6-month lead time, and we've had Belfield just ordered their radios in the middle of January, and they received them the end of February.
Okay.
So it could be anywhere from 3-4 weeks to a couple months, but we'd like to get them ordered now, so hopefully we can have them before. Hopefully we don't have a huge fire season, but before anything gets worse, where we may need them.
I mean, currently, with us switching to 800, how do we communicate with these counties that don't have state radio?
So most departments have purchased at least like 1 or 2 of the dual band radios. I think all the fire departments have at least purchased 1 to put in like their trucks, so they can at least communicate that route. Ultimately, if it came down to it, if we had a large enough incident, we would try to establish like a unified command, and then that way that department would still operate on their channel, their VHF channel.
But you as emergency management or emergency services, how would emergency services communicate with folks outside that
So-
don't have 800?
So our vehicle, we have a dual band in our pickup, and then we also have one we have a couple of portables. Lena and myself have a portable that we can bring along for us to use, and then these would be looking at doing the additional to give to like an incident commander to be able to communicate interagency. So we currently have a couple of ones that are being used by us. These would be in addition to that to be able to help bridge that gap between the VHF and siren side.
Any other questions? Probably need to clarify where you want to take this money from if it
I
gets
can amend
approved.
the motion to, I'll amend my motion to include that those funds will come out of the general fund.
Bernie, you okay with that? Okay, any other questions? Discussion?
I mean, we should have the money in general fund, don't we? Yeah. That's fine.
Okay, roll call vote. Commissioner Claris.
Aye.
Commissioner Marsh.
Aye.
Commissioner White.
Aye.
Commissioner Franchuk.
Aye.
The chair will vote aye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Natalie, you want to come up for a couple of out-of-state travel requests here?
Is it still morning? Ooh, a couple minutes. I'm
don't
Natalie,
push it.
Stark County Tax Director. This is kind of confusing, but I've already got I've already made the request for the out-of-state travel to go to Manhattan, Kansas. 2 weeks ago when we had our department head meeting, Karen brought up the fact that there's grant money sitting there to use for education or for travel for these kinds of things. Nobody's ever used it. So when we were talking about it in the department head meeting, she said, well, you could use that for your flights and your hotels and all that kind of stuff. So basically, this is a request to use them funds out of that grant account.
Rather than out of your budget.
Right.
Okay. Any questions?
Great, that's a good idea.
Well, and I believe that was a $50,000 grant, wasn't it?
100,000.
Or 100? Okay. I'd make the motion to approve that.
Okay, I have a motion, or do I have a second? Second. We'll do roll call. Commissioner Franchuk.
Aye.
Commissioner White.
Aye.
Commissioner Marsh.
Aye.
Commissioner Claris.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Motion approved. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, well, let's do the Leffert KC Club. You have in front of you a gaming site authorization for the Leffert KC Club. I don't see it being, the application being signed, but,
I'll make the motion to approve that gaming site authorization for Left KC Club.
okay. Motion, second. Any questions, comments, concerns? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign, motion carried. Okay, IT Expansion Committee. Jeremiah.
Oh, Jeremiah, IT Coordinator for Stark County.
Good morning.
Good morning. So what I'm looking to do is kind of transform the IT committee into more of a steering committee at the request of the IT committee, funny enough. When I first got there, we discussed the mission statement, and one of the things that was pretty much unanimous was that IT must represent the entire county. It's everywhere. Everybody uses it in the county. And our IT project should represent everybody. So what I'm trying to do is put a seat on that committee for every department we have, so that we can coordinate a lot better. Nobody gets underrepresented. And we can handle the financials, like licensing at a unified front. Policies, procedures, standards. Everybody will be on the same page if we're all at the table together once a month to discuss it. Nobody gets left out.
Well, of course, I'm for this. I mean, we've worked together on this. I mean, we had an instance today. I mean, it's a minor instance, but we had an instance today that, you know, this whole unified front on the IT side of things. I mean, we want that steering committee. I mean, if the IT steering committee were to reject a request, I mean, it's fully vetted through the entire IT steering committee. And like I said, we want some unity and some unification of, you know, first of all, if it's going through that committee, it's been approved. Jeremiah, our IT coordinator, is fully aware of the new software going into place. We've discussed at length, you know, potentially, you know, what's the best economically, what's the best for the county, what works for usability. I mean, all these things, all these questions can be asked at that steering committee. And like I said, it was a minor instance today, but I think it's a good thing. I mean, ultimately, we don't want any software being put on our network unless it's being approved by that steering committee.
Correct.
So this would be, department heads would be sitting on this?
Yeah.
Or their representative. Like, she's busy. Sometimes I'm busy. Sometimes Karen's busy. They could send somebody up there to kind of like gauge what's going on. Put their 2 cents in.
And this would be a monthly thing or a quarterly thing or what?
Just like a normal committee. They would meet and discuss as we do. No real changes there. But
we meet them on a monthly basis.
That's
right
what you
now.
mean now, so I mean,
Yeah.
you would just add these seats to that, and it wouldn't be a committee anymore, it'd be a steering group?
They would have, like we were discussing Canva, right? What if we just decided everybody was going to use Canva and Adobe was out the door? Some people weren't represented in that decision. We'd have a fight on our hands. I need everybody at the table when we start doing standards so that they can fight for whatever it is that makes their department work.
So the only concern I have, I'm supportive of collaboration. I'm just worried about meeting overload. I mean, you know, you're right? And so if you can work that out, more power to you. I just don't want everybody sitting in a meeting, you know, so often, because not only your committee, you have the department heads, and then you have this, and then you have that one. So however you want to figure that out and steer that, have that. I just, like I said, it takes away from productive time sometimes as well. So.
And maybe, I mean, since we are technology, you know, maybe it could be done via Teams, you know, so we wouldn't actually have to get to a physical location. But like I said, and maybe it doesn't have to be monthly. I mean, but maybe it's a situation where any kind of, you know, the steering committee can meet on a quarterly basis, but you could still have your IT committee meetings monthly.
That would make more sense to me.
Type thing, you know?
Yeah, I think you might run out of things to talk about if they were monthly.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we don't, on the IT side of things, I mean, just general, I mean, what we're doing, and, you know, I mean, we're constantly looking at the budget, and right now, we're talking about the budget right now. We've sat in a budget meeting, and all those things are great, but like the steering committee side of things maybe could be on a quarterly thing. We just want to get everybody on the same page when it comes to what we're trying to do security-wise, all of our software.
We need the agility, quite honestly. Some vulnerability comes out and this needs to go. We need to do that now, not wait.
But making sure that all the department heads know, and it might affect some department heads more than others.
Exactly. We need to know what's going on if we do that.
Okay, is that an action item, or is that just a report?
Well, I think we probably should have an action item. I think we need to reach out to all the department heads. I know that there's some departments that only have one person, so you might have to, you know, and we don't want to make your life any harder, but we want you at the table. We want you to have a voice. So we need to be more familiar with your needs as well, which is important as well. So I would make the motion to expand the IT committee / steering committee to include the department heads or their appointed representative.
Okay. Do we have a second? Second. Any other discussion? Hearing none. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Hearing none, motion carries. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Jeremiah.
Let's go to the auditor here, just so we kind of keep everything. Your archiving.
The ARCA search?
Yes.
So, we're bringing this before the commission because the ARCA, we currently have a $1,100 budget line item in the IT budget. And that covers the ARCA search, which is our digital minute archive, annual fee, but you will have in front of you a $899 addition to that, which which will cover the uploading since 23 of the minutes. We were unaware that they were going to charge us for those additional uploads, so that we just need a budget line adjustment for that additional $899 to the IT budget.
A very good resource. I don't know if any of you have looked back to 1946 for minutes, but it is really, really handy. I'm telling you what, it is. So, yeah, so I would entertain a motion to approve the $899 budget for the ARCA search service.
So moved.
We have Commissioner Marsh,
No, that's Corey White.
Corey White, motion, Commissioner Claris, second. Any other discussion? Okay, roll call vote. Commissioner White.
Aye.
Commissioner Claris.
Aye.
Commissioner Franchuk.
Aye.
Commissioner Marsh.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Thank you. Motion approved. Let's do the PRC grants right, or approval right away.
Okay. You also have in front of you a list of, these are the trusts that applied for the 2024 PRC grant, but were not awarded that until recent legislation changed that we can be retroactive and apply that PRC credit to those trusts. It is a total of $43,501.39. And what we will have to do is do this through the abatement process because these taxes should have all been paid already. So they will get a refund if they've already paid their taxes. So we just need you to approve us to abate that $43,000 and issue those checks.
The 43,501.39, or?
Yes. Correct.
Okay.
And this is for mobile homes and trusts?
Yes.
Okay, okay,
Right, we already did the mobile homes, this is just trust.
okay.
Yep.
And all of these have been approved by the state tax commissioner?
Yes,
There is
yes.
no risk for us to grant the waiver or the credit without approval. Okay,
Yes.
So these are all trusts that are on here.
yeah. Some of
So-
them are, there's some other ones too, I think.
So like my stuff's in a trust and I haven't
Is your
applied for anything.
personal residence, primary residence
Yes,
in a
sir.
trust?
So then I would just.
Did you apply for the primary
No, I did-
residence
I did
credit
not.
in '24?
I did not because I didn't have anything in my name as far as I live because it's in a trust.
Because
Actually,
it's in a
there's
trust, right? So these, so I suggest you go visit with Natalie quick about that afterwards and see if there's anything you can still do or call the state to get
Well, there
in,
was an
right?
emergency provision
Yeah.
in the bill. I don't know when the deadline for the application is.
I don't either, for
so
sure.
I don't want to.
So I would check with Natalie.
Yeah,
What's
so-
that? Oh, there you are.
There.
Okay, well then I missed the date, so.
I was gonna say, we can sit here and wait.
Yeah.
I didn't see you hiding behind the sign.
Okay,
here.
can I
I'll
get
make
a,
the motion to, for the 43,501.30.39.
okay,
For them to make those changes.
can I get a second?
I'll second that.
By Commissioner Claris. Any other discussion?
So not, to go forward, I can still apply for it for the future.
Yes,
Okay,
Yes.
yes. You're just short potentially on 2024.
right.
Sounds like. Any other comments, questions? Hearing none, roll call vote. Commissioner White.
Aye.
Commissioner Claris.
Aye.
Commissioner Franchuk.
Aye.
Commissioner Marsh.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Motion approved. All right, now Joetta can come up. So let's do your audit supervisor training approval.
Okay, so you all have information in your packet from All In Development Company. We've been looking at doing some training for our supervisors, and I have at least 12 people that would be interested and committed to going to an on-site training to go over different things, supervising others, conflict resolution, coaching and mentoring, importance of workplace documentation. This would be an all-day training. We would do it likely over at the Family Ag and Resource Campus at our Dakota room. And the cost would be, with their discount, would be $7,549.20. And I'm requesting if you approve this, that we take it out of the grant money that we've set aside for education and training.
Okay, comments, questions?
I believe this will go well with our, other things that we've been talking about. So continued education, especially in this realm. How many individuals was there, you said?
12 would be, that's about all that they like in their sessions is 12 people for the maximum benefit of everybody in that.
Okay.
Did you guys do this through the SO as well already?
They did do a training, and that's kind of where we learned about maybe we had a need in this area.
And I heard it was good.
Yeah, it was really good.
Okay,
So make a motion to approve the 12 individuals to attend the all-in training. Do I need to put a dollar amount there?
let's do that, please.
Joy, can you help me out with that dollar amount
Yep,
again?
$7,549.20
Okay,
out of the grant money.
okay.
Okay.
Can I get a second on that?
I'll second that.
By Commissioner Claris. Any other discussion,
You got a
questions?
discount on having the 12 or taking the whole thing, or what was
Yeah, that's with the discount.
okay?
Okay, hearing none, roll call vote. Commissioner White.
Aye.
Commissioner Claris.
Aye.
Commissioner Franchuk.
Aye.
Commissioner Marsh.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Motion carries. Let's go one more out-of-state LEAP conference request.
All right. So the LEAP HR for State and Local Government Conference is typically held in Denver, Colorado. This year it is in September, so I am requesting to travel there September 8th through the 10th. The total estimated cost would probably be around $2,740, and I'm requesting that it be taken out of that grant money also for education and training.
Is that the only out-of-state conference you're going to this year?
Yes.
So I'll make a motion to approve the LEAP Human Resources Conference, right? HR State and Local Government Conference, for the total of $2,740.
Okay,
And the money be pulled from the grant money for training.
can I get a second on that?
I'll second that.
Commissioner Claris. Any other discussions, comments? Hearing none, roll call vote. Commissioner White.
Aye.
Commissioner Claris.
Aye.
Commissioner Marsh.
Aye.
Commissioner Franchuk.
Aye.
Chair votes aye, motion carries. Okay, almost at the end. Okay, Compensation Committee
Or
report.
can we do the alternative work schedule?
Oh,
policy
sorry, I
first?
crossed one out.
Okay.
Alternative work schedule.
Thank you.
You tell where my mind is.
All right, so you have before you a draft policy. This basically came about because we have several alternative work schedules in our county right now. And typically, the whole department does the alternative work schedule. But we do have some instances where it hasn't been documented what somebody is doing or has requested to do, or has even been approved to do. So with this policy, this would help us put something in writing so we have an agreement that goes through a process if somebody wants to work something other than what the typical schedule is, for instance, in the courthouse or in the road department. I mean, I don't think anyone would do anything different in the road department, but that's just an example.
Yep, you mentioned you have some examples. Can you just, I don't know if it's whatever, can give me some other examples other than
An
what the
idea.
road department does?
An idea? Yeah, so for instance, we do a compressed work week here in the courthouse. So employees work typically 9-hour days, Monday through Thursday, and 4 hours each Friday. So the example I gave at our department head meeting would be maybe this summer, one employee wants to work 4 10-hour days at the courthouse and have Fridays off to go camping or something along that line. And that would just be approved, if it was approved, for that summer time period. And then they would go back to their normal schedule after that. So that's an example of something somebody could request.
And currently we have, that I've brought up in the past, with our park board employee, that works many hours throughout the summer, right? And then in the winter months, I think it's 2 days a week is what the individual's working, right? And I know in the past, there's been conversations like, okay, you've worked this many hours, just pull it out of your bank or whatever. How does this, so this would be the alternative work schedule that individual would sign and put it in their file?
Yes, so if we move forward with something like this, we would need some sort of an agreement that you would be, like, in this instance, you work so many hours I think we need to get a good idea of how many overtime hours are being worked. So then we would give you this many comp hours, for instance, during this time period. So it would be very definite time periods of when you're doing this. And then there would be your primary work location would be identified too in this situation. Where are they going to be, at the fairgrounds or at the courthouse?
Okay, and I know we added the head count to that department too, so those overtime hours should come down in the summer months for that.
That would
That
be the
position.
thought, yes, yeah,
So then, there's a lot of times that maybe there's an event going on there, and is she on call at that time? If somebody calls, I mean, how do you figure those times in, where she's at home and something goes on out there and they call her up to, I mean, does she write that time down?
Well, that's an exempt position, so I would think only if she was on site,
Okay, so then she's got to drive on site to fix something.
called back, yeah. I mean, she can track that as overtime,
And
outside of her
because
40-hour work week.
There's going to probably be over the summertime, there's going to be Saturdays, there's going to be Sundays.
But there is no overtime for exempt
No,
employees.
no, I'm not saying overtime, but I mean to be
Right.
watching her time so that she gets credit for the time to take that time off in the wintertime.
And then she'll have, she's got a second person now where she didn't before, so she'll have to manage that time as well, because there's
Well, she's
additional
got to
hours
watch how
there.
much time she gives that person though, too.
Correct.
I like the idea that there is a department head, or excuse me, commissioner portfolio involved, and, there's some communication, some approval process.
I guess
and-
what I would like to see is through this season, have her track it. So that because at this time, we do not know the hours there or, and so how can we make a decision if we don't know
Well,
hours?
yeah, and I'm conceptually, I'm supportive of this. And I think if you ask Lisa, I mean, before she went exempt, she had the hourly, so she knew what her schedule was, and the amount of events out there was probably not exact what it was, so she could give a concept. I do, whenever I see something like this, I want to make sure there is no abuse to the privilege, because in my opinion, right, you go work for somebody on the private sector, you're gonna have to get real down deep to get the privilege, to get the flexible work schedule, unless you have several layers of approval. So I guess, so at this point, road department and potentially the parks department are the two we're talking about, because the courthouse closes at noon, so I don't know that we can conceptually say that those who work here 9 hours from Monday through Thursday and 4 or 5 hours on Friday is a alternate work schedule. That's
Well, I've listed the alternative work schedule that we have, and those are included. The compressed work week, 10-hour days, anything other than Monday through Friday, 8 to 5 is considered an alternative work schedule, essentially. And so those examples are there. The other one that might be used in the courthouse, and we just don't have anything documented, is that, somebody may have to drop their kids off in the morning and they can't get here by 7:30. So
I mean,
it's
we wanna
already
be
been,
supportive of that.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's
and that's what I
already
said.
been worked out with their manager that they will make up those hours.
Another department that this could potentially be, I mean, we've identified road and parks. Another one is IT. He's on call
Yeah,
24/7.
he can work from home and do, like if somebody has a problem, he can remote and do
Mike
that.
wants this too, apparently. Oh, sorry.
And what about the weed people?
Well, the weed people, I mean, they haven't
I
very.
think we need to
That is
maybe
seasonal.
do with Travis what we're doing with Lisa. How many hours is he working in the
We
summer?
need to have something to take us to the future to know what we're talking about when
Yeah,
we discuss
yeah.
this
Yeah.
again.
They
I mean,
will
there'll be
spray.
little things we need to cure and
Yes.
and
Yeah,
tweak,
yeah.
and that's fine. The only thing I see is I think some of these places where you have company, you may want to put county in there
Okay.
on the work schedule agreement, so. Any other questions for Joetta?
Do we need to approve the alternative work schedule policy?
Yes.
I'll make a motion to approve the alternative work schedule policy.
And we'll review it, what, 12 months from now? 6
Okay.
months from now? Huh?
It needs to be reviewed annually, I'm sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I'd second that.
Okay. Any other questions, comments, concerns? Hearing none, all in favor of the alternative work schedule policy as presented, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries. All right. Where are we at? Now, compensation committee.
Okay, all right, well, we've had several meetings and very robust discussions, and we're at a point where we would like to present a couple concepts to the board. And so one of those is the connecting performance with pay, and that would be the change that I brought forward with the performance management and merit pay. We would add merit pay to our performance evaluations. And it goes through the eligibility and the guidelines. And we kind of, with the rating scale definitions, kind of put some benchmarks in there and to give a better idea of how ratings, because we want the ratings to be as accurate as possible, obviously, if it's connected to their pay. So we put those in there. They can, and each area in our performance evaluation is rated. So you can have exceptional performance, there's examples, superior performance, fully successful performance. You can have successful performance, but you have development areas. And then you can have unsuccessful performance are basically the 5 areas that we have. Once the evaluation has been completed and finalized, then the score would be calculated and overall rating would be assigned based upon the total number of points earned. And then that merit pay would be awarded based on the intersection of their performance and their salary range on the merit matrix. So you'll see an example of a performance-based merit matrix in your packet. And this would be something that we would always use this matrix, but you guys could identify what you wanted the percentage to be. So for instance, if we have a lean year and we don't think we can afford up to a 3.5% adjustment for somebody, who has an exceptional evaluation, isn't at the bottom or the minimum to 25 percentile of the pay scale, then you can change that. So you would determine that, what would be on this scale.
So would this merit pay be, is this gonna eliminate the cost of living raises we have now, or is this gonna be up and above that, or how is this gonna figure into that equation?
Yeah, the idea is if you all agree with this merit pay concept along with the salary range market analysis, then we would bring forward a compensation and salary adjustment policy, which would outline that all. So the only things that you guys would have to make decisions on every year during budgeting would be the positions that would get a market increase, if any, and what the merit matrix would be. Because we do have some positions that wouldn't be eligible for merit pay. Elected officials wouldn't be eligible. We had talked about attorneys not being in that either. I think that was the 2 areas. So we would, those positions would be based on market pay. So, along with this concept, you'll see the standard operating procedure for salary range market analysis. So this is how we come up with those salary ranges that you guys have seen as guidelines in the past few years. It just lets you know how that analysis is done, what data we use, and how salary adjustments would be determined as far as that benchmarking. Gives you your minimum, your maximum, and then your median.
And the idea with this is to get everybody in the county at least to the median, correct?
Yes, your goal is, you want your competent people to be making your median market wage rate, so you can keep them. If you're not paying market wages, I mean, they'll typically go elsewhere.
Yep.
Well, you're right. There was a lot of robust discussion through this process, and I thought it was all really great. There was some, I think that we've.
So the decision the commission would have, oh, sorry, go ahead. So the decision that the commission would have to make every year would be to fill in that chart,
Yep.
and then any COLA, if any.
Well,
We're trying to go away
we
from that.
would like to move away from COLA. Typically, if a range increases, I would rather do it as a market increase than just an across-the-board COLA.
Because with the SOP, we're gathering the data every year.
Yeah,
It's
I
we're-
understand that. My point is that if you are sub-median right now as an employee, and you are marginal, right in that, I guess, term would be fully successful, and, which charts out to 2.75%, and inflation repeats the last 4 years what you did, it's gonna take you a long time to get caught up, potentially, even if you moved up the ladder, did successful superior. And I'm not challenging, I'm not criticizing, I'm just saying, I'm thinking here, how this all plays out in a
Well, keep in
reality.
mind, this is just the merit increase, so if their scale is going up, or let's say the market went up, maybe every other county gave 2%, then their scale is the market will have gone up, and if you guys want to give a 2% adjustment for all those, you certainly can. But, yeah.
So your data is
And it-
equally weighed, job service,
These are
Association
the-
of Counties and the US.
Yeah,
BLS.
these are we use NDACO salary survey data, North Dakota Job Service labor market data, and the US Bureau of Labor Statistics website.
So just, yes.
I know we're looking at this median or mean or whatever it is across the state, and that's fine, but I think, for me at least, and maybe for Corey, like, how are we comparing it to Dunn and Billings and McKenzie and Williams? Because that's the people that we are competing with. And I think a good example of that was just your road supervisor on what Dunn was paying and what we were paying. And if we're just looking at a median across the state and we're not talking about who we're actually competing with out here, trying to entice people out here, then I wonder where we're gonna get. That's just my.
Yeah, that makes total sense.
And all of that data is in the NDACO, is what other counties are paying their people.
Right, I understand that, but you're talking about counties throughout the.
No, you can narrow the county search down to 5 counties if you want.
So the SOP is to tell you, so we're consistent, because last year we had issues where, Joanna was saying, I was pulling this information from here. Others were saying, well, I'm pulling information from here. And, you're not in the same range. And there was some accusations that maybe we were not doing it correctly. So the SOP lets us know where we're going to pull data from. So, and that's all there in the SOP. And then, so it doesn't, if somebody comes up and says, Dunn County's pulling their information from, somewhere in Washington, or whatever, why aren't we doing the same thing? Or from a recruiting area that they're at or trying to pull from. So this gives us a guidance that this is where we're going to pull this information. Last year wasn't fun during these conversations. So we want to get it right this time.
So, Joetta, logistically speaking, let's just go through the exercise here. So you're going to get new data from the counties, and all these salary surveys are going to be available by May 1, correct? So come May 1, you're going to have a new data set to plug into our matrix, our salary range matrix, and you will come to the at budget time, you'll come to the commission and show us what revisions to salaries will look like, right? And we have the opportunity to approve those to get, I mean, because it's always our goal to get them up into that, at minimum, to our 50% percentile, right? So a person could actually get, I mean, they could get a merit matrix bump. If they were an exceptional and they were in the minimum to 25%, they could get that potential bump in addition to their market raise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the market raise would be a set dollar amount. So for example, if you had an administrative assistant position, and there's 50-cent steps in, then they would get a 50-cent adjustment. Now, the higher a salary range is, the larger those steps are. So, you know, your grades, your higher grades, would be more like, 75 cents or $1. So the market kind of follows the steps there.
So then if we have somebody that's above the median, then do they just not, I mean, they're already above the
So
median,
you'll see, so on this example, that is why on this merit matrix, you'll see the percentages that are minimum to 25%, that's their position on the salary range, and 26th percentile to 50th percentile. Those percentages are higher than the ones at the 51 to 75th percentile, and then of course 76 to max. Because if you're already at the maximum amount of your salary range, you don't have much room to progress on your salary scale. Yeah. And, 1% of 50,000 is a lot more than 1% of, 20,000. I mean, those aren't good numbers, but.
Yeah, I can figure that one out.
Yeah,
Thank you.
the less you make, the less your increase is going to be, your percentage. So this flat across the board increase isn't, you get a lot of different, increases if you make less or if you make more type of a thing.
So the idea is, I mean, well before budget time, we as a commission could know what our salaries are going to look like. Now, we didn't talk about how you're going to implement the
Yeah.
merit side of things and when that whole process starts as well.
Yeah, so, to get this done, Karen was kind of wanting an idea before July. So, we were talking about doing performance evaluations starting in May and having those done by July. So you would have an idea. But with your budgeting, what most counties do is they do an average merit increase. So you do that per department, So you at least have something to budget. And then when you get the final results, then you can put those in your salaries. Yeah.
Just a quick question. How many Stark County employees would be evaluated by somebody other than a department head, by a portfolio holder? Do you know that number?
Yeah, it's our department heads, I think it's around 10. There's like 13 department heads.
Okay, so 13 are done by one of us versus.
But 2 of those are elected, so they don't have it. Okay, yeah. It's around 10 to
Okay,
12.
all right,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah. And that was the other thing we discussed is, let's do it in January. Well, that became an issue the year that we have elections because you have new people coming in. They don't know, they can't evaluate somebody they've never worked with before. So we may still have some of that issue going on too. But we thought May would be a little, give them some time to work with somebody before they had to evaluate them.
I volunteered the chair to do it, did I?
You did, yes.
I'll second that.
But that's another thing too, when you guys set your portfolios each January, it's, sometimes it's up in the air who you're, so that's the other thing, we didn't want to do it in January. Once these are done, then it wouldn't go into effect until the January 1st for the budgeting year.
Right.
And there's some things laid out in there for people. You have to work at least 6 months before you're eligible for any sort of an increase. So even those people that start like July through December, they wouldn't be eligible for a pay increase until they hit their 6 months in that next budget year.
So another, just, Corey was part of it, obviously you were as well. I mean, there was a long discussion about the SOP. That's how we got here, is like, we need to figure out a standard operating procedure of how we get to this, our market ranges. And there was a long discussion about that and the data that we were gonna use. And of course, I mean, it's never gonna be perfect, but I mean, there was a discussion about, well, do we need to do a salary study, hire an outside contractor, do a salary study? Well, after a long discussion, I mean, that person doing that salary discovery or study, I don't think it's going to pull any more data that we don't have access to. We've had that, so, I mean, ultimately, we just wanted all the employees in the county to understand that we're trying to be as fair as possible and draw from as much data as possible, and, and put this idea to rest that somehow the market study or the salary study from an outside source is going to be far superior than what we're going to pull. I mean, ultimately, we want to make sure, I mean, we have a solid baseline for all of our salaries, but because I know that's going to be one of the questions everyone's going to ask. Well, how come we just don't do an independent study, a salary study? Well, for one, it's going to cost us who knows how much, and I'm not quite sure it's going to provide us any more information than we already, have access to already. So that's some of the thought process on that.
Okay. Is this just an update, or are you wanting some kind of action?
Well, if you could approve the performance management and merit pay policy, then we could start moving forward with evaluations. And the SOP, so that we can move forward with the compensation policy that we would like to bring forward.
I'd make the motion to approve both of those.
I'd second it.
Thanks for working
Motion
on that,
and
Joda.
second. Any other discussion, comments, questions? Hearing none. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Corey. Thanks, Joetta. It was fun. I'm working on it. Hopefully it works out.
All right.
And
I
Karen-
think the
Karen
last
was part
item
of
I have is County Road organizational structure conversation.
All right. So Al left and retired. We put a job opening out there. We had 2 applicants. We chose not to go forward with that. In the interim, there was some discussions about, having some individuals pick up some slack that Al was currently doing and fulfilling those roles. I had HR reach out to those 3 individuals and make sure that their roles and responsibilities, what has changed, what hasn't changed, and if we needed to update any of their job structure or job descriptions. It did not appear that we were going to need to do much at all. 8 months ago, was it 9 months ago maybe? We hired an assistant road superintendent. He did apply for the position. He did take on some additional responsibilities with the phone, some organizational stuff, and we were looking at that. Commissioner Meshner and I had some discussions with the 3 individuals out of the shop, and we're looking for maybe a short term until we could figure some stuff out with the road department. The structure seems to have not gone the way we wanted to go. I've heard from several individuals from the road department. We've had 3 or 4 retirements since last year, the end of last year. And then we have some open seats that need to be filled. Our assistant road superintendent has given his 2 weeks' notice. I do not know if there's an option to keep him or if he's gonna be leaving, he's made up his mind to leave. The feedback that I've gotten is that they do want to have some kind of structure put in place at the road department.
That's one thing I said at the last meeting, is you gotta have structure, you have to have somebody in charge, you have to have somebody, is the face somebody where the ball drops on their head, and somebody that gets to, and we drop the ball on that. And we lost a really, really amazing employee, which I mean, he got, I think, well compensated at his new job where they offered him the money, and
Yeah, well, I think there's a couple conversation points there. And that, at the last meeting, there was a motion to, like you mentioned, Corey, to have the three individuals step up for the intern until we made a decision on the long-term or the full-time road superintendent. You and I had a meeting with those three individuals. We walked out of there. I thought the job descriptions, duties, were fairly well spelled out and agreed to. Compensation was discussed, and we asked, or at least I asked, if we could ride where we were for a couple of months until we figure it out and then deal with compensation. Walked out of the room thinking that was also acceptable, and 7 days later it wasn't acceptable. So that's where the confusion on my part comes. And having lost very good employees away from the farm into the energy sector because I couldn't afford to keep them, I just say great for the individual who can benefit himself or his family. Now, not so good for Stark County if we lose a valuable employee. But I don't know, I've said this before. I drove out to the farm on Thursday or Friday, and the Gladstone Road was being bladed, the edges were being cut, the road was being watered, and they were blading it. So the short term, the work is still getting done, and I think there's a lot of pride out in that building, and I think we're underestimating what those individuals are capable of doing. Short term, long term, yes, I'm all for getting a permanent road superintendent, but I also want the right individual on however that is at a number we can afford. I mean, the number that I was told is, I think, was more than we were paying the previous individual with 25 or over 20 years experience. So I think that's a challenge. So if we don't,
so no, back up like 3 or 4 sentences and say that again, because somehow I did not comprehend
Boy.
everything.
Where would you like me to?
So to compensate the new person,
Yeah, so the compensation, I'm being told that the individual who's leaving was offered at the new position where we'd have to get relatively close to that, was equal to what we were paying Al for over 20 years of experience. And I'm sorry, that's it's not attainable.
I can't speak for him, but I think he was looking for long-term here.
Mm-hmm. And I'd love, and I talked to him prior to him submitting his notice. I said, I'll put you on a path. I agree to put you on a path, but it can't be 1 year. It's got to be multiple years in order to get there. So I don't know, Corey knows more about the permit. I mean, I don't know if you can give notice and not give notice, but.
Well, you can, I would assume, but, I know he and I have been talking throughout this entire deal. He did get an offer. He did submit his resignation. I asked Joetta to hang on to it for now until we had some discussions. He has a number. I've discussed that number with you. I don't know if the commission would agree to it, but I thought it was a fair. It's right there, but if the commission doesn't have,